Money retelling the story. This is a story about the narrator's grandpa Antonio, who was a very wealthy man, and he made a fortune by establishing a chain of movie theaters across America. Actually, the narrator is really proud of his grandpa as he went from rags to riches. He didn't inherit his money or win the lottery. He made a fortune by himself. He worked a lot and he was a very honest man. He always paid taxes and never gave bribes. Um, he always invested in education. He was a great philanthropist and he thought that money invested in education is never wasted. So he established his own charity fund to support uh, students from poor backgrounds, to give grants and scholarships. Also, he built schools in poor districts and he donated um, some amount of money on the programs supporting immigrants' business, like immigrant startups. As his grandpa actually was the immigrant himself, he came to the USA from El Salvador, a very small country. He borrowed some money from his relatives and he promised to pay them back. So he had to work really hard and live on a tight budget. He tried to make both ends meet. He had to try a lot of manual labor, like working as a shop assistant, security guard in a nightclub, sweeping the floors, and so on. So he went through some hard times. And after that, he paid the money back to his relatives. He started saving up money and putting them into his bank account. And then he met his future wife, the narrator's grandmother, and he was a really shy guy. He didn't know how to approach her, so he decided to apply for a job in a local movie theater where she worked to be able to see her more often. And that's where he fell in love with the cinema, while grandma fell in love with him. So he became the manager of that movie theater, and then he ran the theater as he got promoted. After some time, when he had enough money, he started investing in stocks. And he always thought that money makes more money. Then, after some period, he decided that he was ready to start his own venture, and he took out $50,000 from his bank account and he cashed his stocks. But this small business was a failure, unfortunately. He bought a small movie theater, but it was a failure due to poor location and his lack of experience. But he wasn't upset for too long. He just decided to learn from his mistakes, and he enrolled on courses for entrepreneurs, and he came up with a proper business plan and found some investors, and he was able to raise enough capital for starting a new movie theater, and he ended up having more than 60 movie theaters across 34 states. When he was 80 years old, he decided to retire and travel around the world. Later on, after a few years, maybe a couple of years, he died, and his family inherited his business and his money.